live in the morning on KTRS.
7:52, 18 degrees. We're back with Bill McClellan, St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist. Bill, you were telling us about this weekend's column, and people have come to really look forward to those columns, although now you're in partial retirement. And you did so, you took voluntary partial retirement so that others at the Post-Dispatch who were scheduled for layoff could keep their jobs. That's something real special.
AJ, I mean, it really worked out well for me. We have a union, and the union contract says that if there's going to be layoffs, which go by pretty much seniority, the company's allowed to skip a few people, but it's mostly seniority. But the contract says that if someone with greater seniority steps in and accepts a layoff, that he or she gets severance pay as if it were a layoff. And so if I would have quit when I was going to, I would have, just gotten a sheet cake. But because of the layoffs, I was able to get a severance package. So while it seems like I did a good thing for other people, the truth is it also worked out very well for me.
Well, you'll get that sheet cake when you ultimately retire for good.
Well, maybe so.
Yeah. Now, last year, on a more serious note, you wrote in your column about your diagnosis with cancer of the bile ducts, a rare form of cancer. And in what readers, I think, have come to expect from you, a column with a lot of heart and even some humor, you started it off with, not long after my recent semi-retirement, I stepped into a Woody Allen movie. So how are you doing, and what did you mean when you say you stepped into a Woody Allen movie?
Well, what I meant was, it does seem sometimes like this is a script by Woody Allen. I mean, when you get kind of a rare cancer, and the only cure or treatment for this cancer really is to take it out. They call it resection. And mine, which went from the bile ducts to the liver, is inoperable because it's wound around an artery. And it did seem like something from a Woody Allen movie, and there were all sorts of moments of dark humor in it. And how I'm doing now, I'm doing remarkably well, and I feel good. And oncologist has told me that a couple of years ago there would have been nothing they could have done for me, and now medical science is advancing so much that they've done things. I mean, first they had me on they installed a pump that injected chemo into the liver, and then when that failed, they did some radiation, and then I thought that was the end of it. And now I'm on an immune therapy drug, which really seems like the first thing that's 21st century-ish, because the chemo is just poison, and the radiation just burns you. But this immune therapy supposedly allows your own body to attack the tumor itself, and it just sounds good. And so far, it seems to be working for me. So I'm in no pain or discomfort, and so I'm feeling very good. And I'm, if you would have told me 15 months ago when I was diagnosed that I'd be not only around this Christmas but feeling very good, I would have thought terrific. So, I'm very fortunate about this.
Well, and that's great news for everyone, your readers and all of us.
Well, thank you. Great news for me.
Yeah, especially for you. Was there a period after the diagnosis where you thought maybe, the time had run out?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's cholangiocarcinoma, or bile duct cancer, and if you look it up on Wikipedia, which of course we immediately did, it's lethal, and so I thought, well, this is pretty much it, and the doctors thought so. And then in Arizona, I collapsed with some internal bleeding and had to go to the hospital. And, and they were that was in February, and they were very gloomy with their prognosis. And so at that time too, I thought, well, this is kind of it. And here I am months later. So yeah, there were times when it seemed gloomy, but on the other hand, I've had a fine life and a terrific family, and like I put in that first column, this is complete tragedy when it strikes a child or a young person with young kids. But when you're older and your kids are grown, it isn't quite the tragedy that it would be otherwise.
Well, also in that column, you mentioned that all you needed to kind of finish things out was a Cubs victory in the World Series. We have about 30 seconds. You're an unabashed Cubs fan. What did that mean to you to see them finally win a World Series?
Well, it was wonderful for me. And, my daughter, who's grown, I raised her to be a Cub fan, and she lives here. So for us to be able to watch the World Series together in the basement was just a great thing. And by the way, Cardinal fans should be very happy that they got Dexter Fowler, because you go, we go. Dexter Fowler is a great player, and the Cards are lucky to have him. And I'm sorry to see him here, actually. Wow. I was hoping he'd go to the American League.
Bill McClellan, Post-Dispatch columnist, Donnybrook star, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Hey,
we wish
you
all the best in your recovery.
Well, thank you, Jay, and I hope you have a good holiday season.
Thank you so
Very
much.
Good.
7:58 KTRS.